You've been waiting for something to shift, haven't you? That nagging feeling that there's more to your story than what's currently playing out. Maybe you've caught yourself staring out the window lately, not really seeing what's in front of you, but sensing something just beyond the horizon, something that feels both foreign and familiar at the same time. The thing is, you're not imagining it. That restlessness you've been carrying, that sense that you're standing at the edge of something significant, it's not random. It's not your mind playing tricks on you or some cosmic coincidence that you stumbled across this video right now. There's a pattern here, and you're starting to recognize it even if you can't quite name it yet. Most people spend their entire lives ignoring these moments. They feel the pull, sense the shift, but they turn up the music, scroll through their phone, or dive deeper into whatever distraction keeps them from having to sit with the uncertainty. They've trained themselves to believe that comfort equals safety, that predictability equals security, that staying where they are is somehow less risky than stepping into the unknown. But you're different. You're here because some part of you knows that what's coming isn't something to fear. It's something you've been preparing for without even realizing it. Every challenge you've faced, every moment of doubt you've pushed through, every time you chose growth over comfort, it's all been building toward this. Here's what nobody tells you about these pivotal moments in life. They don't announce themselves with fanfare or obvious signs. They don't come with instruction manuals or clear timelines. Instead, they whisper. They show up in the quiet spaces between your thoughts, in the pause before you make a decision, in that split second when you feel something inside you say yes before your logical mind has time to analyze and doubt. You've probably noticed that your tolerance for superficial conversations has diminished lately. Small talk feels exhausting. Pretending to care about things that don't actually matter feels like wearing clothes that no longer fit. There's this growing need for authenticity, for depth your time. This isn't you becoming antisocial or difficult. This is you out for surface-level existence. Your inner compass is wreck for connections and experiences that actually feed growing the version of yourself that settled your soul, rather than just philolibrating, pointing you toward what actually matters instead of what you've been told should matter. And that recalibration can feel disorienting because suddenly the things that used to satisfy you feel hollow. Maybe you've started questioning decisions you made years ago that felt so certain at the time. The career path that seemed logical, the relationships that felt safe, the goals you've been working toward because they looked good on paper, not because they're necessarily wrong, but because they were chosen by someone you used to be, not who you're becoming. The beautiful thing about these moments of questioning is that they're not coming from a place of confusion. They're coming from a place of clarity. You're finally seeing with clear eyes instead of looking through the lens of other people's expectations or your own outdated beliefs about who you're supposed to be. There's something profound happening in your life right now, even if the external circumstances look exactly the same as they did 6 months ago. The shift isn't always visible from the outside. Sometimes the most significant transformations happen in the invisible spaces, in the way you process information, in how you respond to challenges, in the quality of your presence. When you're alone with your thoughts, you're developing a different relationship with uncertainty. Where it used to feel threatening, it's starting to feel like possibility. Where it used to create anxiety, it's beginning to generate excitement. Not because uncertainty itself has changed, but because your relationship with the unknown has fundamentally shifted. This is where most people get stuck. They feel the shift beginning, they sense something significant approaching, but they try to control the timing. They want to know exactly when it will happen, exactly what it will look like, exactly how it will unfold. They want guarantees and timelines and step-by-step instructions for something that doesn't work that way. But timing isn't something you can force or manipulate or rush into existence. Real timing, divine timing, universal timing, whatever you want to call it, operates on a completely different frequency than your impatience or your planning mind. It takes into account variables you can't see, connections you're not aware of, preparations that need to happen behind the scenes before the main event can unfold. Think about the last time something amazing happened in your life, something that felt like it came out of nowhere, but was exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. When you look back now, can you see all the seemingly unrelated events that had to line up perfectly for that moment to be possible? The chance encounter that led to an opportunity, the delay that put you in the right place at the right time, the failure that redirected you towards something better. That's how this works. While you're focused on one thing, life is orchestrating something entirely different behind the scenes. While you're worried about the timing, everything is already moving into position. While you're trying to figure out the how, the what, and the when, the universe is busy arranging circumstances you couldn't have imagined and wouldn't have thought to ask for. The challenge is learning to trust the process when you can't see the full picture, learning to take action on what's in front of you today without needing to understand how it connects to the bigger story, learning to follow your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense, especially when it doesn't make logical sense. There's a difference between waiting passively and waiting actively. Passive waiting is sitting on your couch, hoping something will happen to you. Active waiting is continuing to grow, continuing to prepare, continuing to say yes to opportunities that resonate with you, even when you can't see where they lead. Active waiting is staying open and available for what wants to emerge, while still engaging fully with your current reality. Right now, you're in a phase of active waiting. You can feel something building, something gathering momentum, something preparing to reveal itself. And your job isn't to figure out what it is or force it to happen faster. Your job is to keep becoming the person who will be ready when it arrives. The readiness you're cultivating isn't about having all the answers or feeling completely prepared. True readiness is about developing the capacity to respond to whatever emerges with presence and authenticity rather than fear and resistance. It's about strengthening your inner foundation so that when the winds of change blow, you bend without breaking. You've probably noticed that your decision-making process has evolved, where you used to agonize over choices, weighing pros and cons until your mind was exhausted. You're starting to feel your way into decisions instead. There's a knowing that comes from somewhere deeper than analysis, somewhere more reliable than the endless mental chatter that used to run your life. This shift from thinking your way through life to feeling your way through life is one of the most significant markers that you're approaching something important. It means you're developing trust in your inner guidance system, the same system that's been trying to get your attention through that restless feeling you've been carrying. But here's where it gets interesting. The closer you get to whatever's trying to emerge in your life, the more intense the resistance might become. Not resistance from the universe or from external circumstances, but resistance from the parts of yourself that are invested in keeping things exactly as they are. The ego, the fearful mind, the voice that's convinced safety lies in the familiar. This resistance can show up as sudden doubt about the path you're on. It can manifest as old patterns resurfacing with surprising intensity. You might find yourself reverting to behaviors you thought you'd moved beyond, or feeling emotions you haven't experienced in months. This isn't a sign that you're moving backward or that you've done something wrong. It's actually evidence that you're moving forward. Think of it like cleaning out a closet. Everything looks messier before it looks organized. You have to pull everything out, sort through what you want to keep and what you're ready to release before you can create the space for something new. Your inner landscape is going through a similar process right now. The old version of yourself is being cleared out to make room for who you're becoming. And just like cleaning a physical space, this process can feel chaotic and overwhelming before it feels liberating. The key is to remember that the temporary disruption is serving a purpose. It's not random chaos. It's purposeful reorganization. During this phase, you might notice that certain relationships feel different. Some people who were once close might feel distant, not because anything dramatic happened, but because you're operating from a different frequency now. The conversations that used to feel meaningful might feel surface level. The activities that used to bring joy might feel empty. This isn't a judgment on those people or those activities. It's simply recognition that you've outgrown certain containers for connection and experience. It's like trying to squeeze back into clothes from 5 years ago. They're not bad clothes, but they no longer fit the person you've become. The loneliness that can accompany this phase is real, but it's temporary. You're in the space between who you were and who you're becoming, between the connections that no longer serve you and the ones that haven't appeared yet. This in-between space can feel isolating, but it's also sacred. It's where transformation happens. What's emerging for you won't look like anyone else's story. It won't fit the template of success or happiness or fulfillment that you've been shown by society, by your family, by the voices that have been shaping your expectations about what your life should look like. It's going to be uniquely yours, and that means it might not make sense to other people, at least not at first. The courage to honor what's true for you, even when it doesn't match external expectations, is perhaps the most important quality you can develop right now. This isn't about being rebellious or difficult. It's about being authentic to the deepest level of who you are, even when that authenticity challenges the status quo or makes other people uncomfortable. Your life is about to become an expression of something that's been waiting inside you for a very long time, something that's been patient while you learned the lessons you needed to learn, gathered the experiences you needed to gather, and developed strength you needed to develop to handle what's coming next. The timing of when this unfolds isn't up to you, but how you show up for it is. How you prepare yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually for what wants to emerge through you is completely within your control. And every day that you choose growth over comfort, truth over convenience, authenticity over approval, you're creating the conditions for whatever's coming to land in fertile ground. The signs are all around you now, not the dramatic, obvious signs that movies have taught you to look for, but the subtle ones that speak directly to your soul, the repeated number sequences that catch your eye, the conversations that seem to address exactly what you've been thinking about, the books that fall open to the perfect page, the strangers who say exactly what you needed to hear. So if you're feeling that gentle pull, that quiet knowing that something significant is stirring beneath the surface of your everyday life, trust it. You're not losing your mind, and you're not making this up. You're simply becoming aware of what's always been true. Your life has been preparing you for this moment, and this moment has been preparing for you. The restlessness you've been carrying isn't a problem to be solved. It's an invitation to be accepted. The questioning isn't confusion. It's clarity breaking through. The sense that you're standing at the edge of something new isn't anxiety. It's anticipation, dressed up as uncertainty. Whatever's coming will show up when it's finally time, not a moment before and not a moment after. Your job isn't to figure out the when or the how or the what. Your job is to keep saying yes to your own evolution, to keep choosing authenticity over comfort, to keep trusting the process even when you can't see the destination. The person you're becoming is already here, waiting just beneath the surface of who you think you are. And when the timing is perfect, when everything has aligned in ways you couldn't have orchestrated yourself, that person will step forward fully. Until then, keep preparing, keep growing, keep trusting, because what's meant for you is already on its way.